Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Aimee here. So I'm actually in the middle of doing Vlogtober, and I didn't have a lot of footage for day 4, so I'm combining day 4 and day 5. So that will go up tomorrow, which is Monday. Today is Sunday, and this is going to be my September wrap up. I wanted to get a video out there for y'all today, so I still needed to do my wrap up, so here we are. I don't have very many books that I read for the month of September. I have 4 physical books here, and then I also read one and listened to Male romances. So a total of 6 books for the month of September. Not terrible. I've done better though. I started the month off with the 3rd book in the Sapphire Cove series by C. Travis Rice, or aka Christopher Rice. This is Sapphire Storm, the 3rd book in the series. Scooch over so I have some room to put my book right here. I gave this 5 stars, so I just absolutely love this little story, or this whole series so far. I need to catch up because the 4th book is out as well, so I need to get that in somewhere. But I love Christopher Rice's writing, especially for this series, and I did listen to this on Audible. I highly recommend the audio because Christopher Rice himself does the narration, and I mean, he knows his characters, so he did a fantastic job, and I love his voice and the voice of his characters, and he definitely brings the story to life with the characters that he narrates for. So this is Ethan and Roman's story. Ethan and Roman actually already have a bit of a past. Ethan is our older guy and Roman is our young fitness influencer, so there is a bit of an age gap in this story. Ethan actually knew Roman's dad. I don't want to say too much about their past, each of them, because it does involve Roman's father and mother as well, so I don't want to spoil any of that for you because that's really the backbone of our story here. Besides our romance between Ethan and Roman and how they come together. Ethan is a chef at the Sapphire Cove Hotel. There's a wedding that's supposed to take place at Sapphire Cove that Ethan is supposed to cook for, and it has to do with Roman and one of Roman's good friends. There's also a story there with Roman and his friend's mother, because Roman's mom and his friend's mom were acquaintances. I'm gonna say that. I don't know if they were quite friends, but they were acquaintances. That's why I love Christopher Rice's storytelling, because there's so much involved in everything. There's a backstory, there's the front story, there's a side story. There's a lot going on. It just keeps you just in the game and cannot wait to find out what's going to happen in the end, who's going to have the happily ever after, because a lot of characters are involved, and of course the backstory of Sapphire Cove is there as well. Our characters from our previous 2 books are making a little appearance in here as well. I do recommend, even though I think these can be read as standalones, I do recommend you go back to the 1st book, because you can't really go wrong, and you really get to know Sapphire Cove in the 1st book. Next up, I picked up You'll Be the Death of Me. This is actually in my TBR, reading through my TBR shelf, part 1 vlog. My pinwheel chose, this was the 1st book we chose, was You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen McManus. I gave this, what did I give it? I'm not doing very well with my Goodreads reviews right now. I have so many books to write reviews on. I gave this 3 stars. It was definitely a decent type of mystery thriller. It's young adult. We have 3 estranged friends, actually. They were friends when they were in middle school, and different things that happened have drawn them apart from each other. So this one day they happen to run into each other and decide to kind of relive their best day ever when they were younger. So but the best day ever doesn't actually become the best day ever. It actually becomes maybe the worst day ever for them. One of their classmates is actually is murdered, and one of them becomes a very high suspect on the list of other suspects. And since they haven't been friends for a while, there's a little bit of skepticism there, like, well, did they do it? Did this person do it? You know, I don't know this person anymore, kind of thing. So there's a lot going on there in the story. I will say that I did kind of get a little bored in the beginning, so it's definitely a slow start to this storyline. But in the end, it was fun, it was interesting, and there is actually a pretty good little twist at the end, so solid 3-star. Next up, I chose The Patient by Jasper DeWitt. This was also in my reading through my TBR reading vlog, which I was very excited to read this little bitty book here. And I will say, even though I was disappointed in the outcome of our story, I enjoyed it up until the end. I really enjoy the writing style, the storytelling. Dr. Parker will be starting his new employment at the Connecticut State Asylum, and there's the patient Joe that is there that none of the doctors have really ever been able to get a finger on, or like really figure out what they can do for this patient to help them. Joe is a very interesting patient. He kind of plays on your weaknesses, basically. He gets to know you and gets in there, and that's kind of how Joe works. So nobody's ever really been able to crack him and figure him out. So it was a very good story. So Parker is actually telling his story through a writing blog that he is writing to, you know, followers. And he's just telling his story of how he became Joe's doctor and what he has found being Joe's doctor. Did he not necessarily cure this patient, but was he able to kind of crack him and really figure him out? That's basically where our story is going, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the storytelling, the way it was written. The characters are all intriguing, and then we get to the end and it just kind of failed for me. I ended up giving this a, what did I give this? I gave it a 2.5 star. That seems harsh. Oh, I know why. There's animal abuse in here as well, and of course it's a cat. It's actually told in 2 different ways, so just be warned there. Now I will say that I was able to get through it, so it wasn't grotesquely told, but it's still in there, and I don't like it, and I don't think it's necessary in these books to make the book work. In my opinion, it would have, I would have probably given this a 3 to 3, probably a good 3 star, maybe a 3.5. But then we continue on to the ending, and it just, that type of storyline, I guess, is just not my cup of tea. But I still think it's worth the read. I probably should have started with this one first. This is Bunny by Mona Awad. This was actually also a pick on my pinwheel that I did for the reading through my TBR reading vlog. This was a DNF for me. I didn't get but maybe, I don't even know, maybe 50 pages in, and I was bored already, and I could just tell that it wasn't going to be a story for me. So we have this group of girls that call themselves Bunny. I don't really know if it's a sorority or not. I didn't really get that far. But we also have a young woman by the name of Samantha, and she is invited to one of their, what's it called? I wrote it down, I think. Smut salons. So what they do is they gather around and tell these stories in a smutty kind of way. Like what? I didn't really get far enough to really understand the meaning of the smut salon, why they were inviting Samantha into their little group, because Samantha is not really bunny material. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. That's about as far as I got, and I was just like, nah, I don't think I like that. So that one's gonna be going into the donation bin. Next, what on my pinwheel of trying to read through my TBR, this is Suspect by Michael Robotham. I gave this a 1 star. Yeah. I don't even know why I kept going. I even have in my notes that I should have DNF'd it. But, so we have a 42-year-old psychologist. Here we are with psychiatrist again. Psychologist. Psychologist. Anyway, he specializes in, I guess the safety of sex workers. Another woman that was one of his patients. I don't think she was a sex worker. I think she was actually a nurse. She is actually found dead. She was just a patient of Joe's. I think one of the reasons I could not get into this story was the story wasn't actually that great, to be honest, but I was listening this on audio and I did not like the narration. The narrations, whoever was narrating sounded much older than a 42-year-old, and I just couldn't picture a nice looking 42-year-old man behind this voice. I feel like that sounds terrible, but that's just how I felt about the narration. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the way he did other voices as well, especially the female voices were kind of cringy. So the audio did not work for me. Maybe if I would have read this with my eyes, it would have worked. But then again, I lost interest in the story itself, because we're basically just following Joe around, and he actually becomes a suspect because, you know, he knew the victim. And we find out some things about Joe and for me, he turned into a character that I didn't like, and I actually didn't even like him from the beginning. So very unlikable character. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's not. In this particular storyline, it just didn't work for me. And then we have like this random twist at the end. I was like, because I kept going because I was curious to see where this story was gonna go. Like, is Joe guilty? Like, who's doing this? Yeah, you know, who killed this woman, and other victims have come up since the story began. Is Joe really doing this, or who is doing this? So yeah, when we get to the end and we're solving the murder, there's a twist, and I'm just like, where the heck did that come from? Like, it was like just pulled out of nowhere. I don't know. I just felt like it was just like, what? Yeah, it didn't work for me. So at least it's off my TBR shelf and I don't have to worry about it. And last but not least, this is the male romance that I finished off the month with. This is Firecracker by Lucy Lennox and May Archer. This is a book 1 in the Honey Bridge series. There is a book 2 out already. I think I am going to read book 2. I did listen to this one. It's read by Michael Dean, who is one of my favorite male romance narrators. I did give this a 4-star on Goodreads, but it was more of a 3.5 star for me. I just bumped it up to the 4-star because, you know, there's no 3.5 star, but it was more of a 3.5 star for me because it was very drawn out. It was a very drawn out romance. Now, there are some romances that, for instance, I'm gonna probably always go back to this book. Wrath was over 700 pages long, and it absolutely was worth those 700 pages because that was a deep, dark, intimate, emotional male romance that I feel like needed all those words in that book. This one, I did not feel like it needed all of this. It was just very drawn out. Even though I did like the characters, I got bored, honestly, with their storyline. So there are 2 kind of feuding families in Honeybridge. There are the Honeycutts and the Wellbridges. The Wellbridges are more of our well-to-do family, and then the Honeycutts are just our average, everyday type of family. It gave me Romeo and Juliet kind of vibes, which I'm not mad about. My only complaint, like I said, is just that it was just too drawn out. You know, it was like 10 hours long, and for a Male Male Romance audiobook, I just found that this kind of Male Male Romance, this typical just male, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but this type of Male Male Romance I felt like didn't need to be that long. That's just my opinion. So we have Flynn Honeycutt, who is nicknamed Firecracker. Flynn has stayed in Honeybridge and basically is taking care of his family, his mom and dad, and they left Flynn to like raise his brother and sister, or 2 brothers and sisters. So, you know, he's had the pressure of even like having to financially raise them, put them through school and kind of thing. And the parents are just like going off having the best time ever. I didn't really understand that part of the story. So anyway, yeah, we have Flynn, who has opened up a brewery and is doing quite well for himself. And then we have JT Wellbridge, who has actually gone off to become like this, they call him the Rainmaker. I think what he does is, I honestly don't know what he does. Something with manufacturing, like he does like the manufacturing behind the companies. So what he wanted to do was he was trying to get Flynn on with his company, and you know, they would take care of all the manufacturing, all the beer making and everything like that, and you know, Flynn would still reap the benefits. Well, Flynn didn't want to do all that. You know, there were reasons behind why he did not want to sell his like manufacturing, because he wanted to stay in his brewery and wanted to be in there firsthand, which I totally understand. But him and JT have always been kind of rivalries since they were in high school, but yet they have always sort of lusted after each other. And there have been instances over the years where they have given in to those feelings for each other. But in the end, the way they would break off with each other, it just kind of looked bad on each other's part. Like they didn't really care about each other, but it was a good storyline. I really did enjoy both Flynn and JT and getting to know them and the real reason behind their past and why they were such enemies and became lovers in the end, happily ever after. I just felt that it was just, there was a lot in there for that sort of a romance. I don't know. But I love the characters, and I did enjoy their story all in all. And I do think I'm going to continue on to the next book, and just because I'm curious, and I'll probably listen to it because Michael Dean is the narrator for that one as well. All right, y'all, that is it for my month of September. Like I said, it wasn't that many books for the month, but a good many. I did pretty well, you know, whatever. 6 books. Not terrible. So I'm gonna do my best and get this up for y'all sometime today. It may not be till this evening, but it will go up today. But we'll be back to Vlogtober for tomorrow for day 4 and day 5, which today is day 5? No, today would be day 6. Yesterday was, I don't know where I'm at. I said day 4 and 5, but it's actually day 5 and 6. Yesterday was day 5, today is day 6. So yesterday and today will go up tomorrow. I made that mistake in the beginning, so I apologize about that. I think I said day 4 and day 5, but it's actually day 5 and day 6. And we get my September wrap up in the midst of it all. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching as always. Hope y'all are enjoying Vlogtober. It looks like y'all are. Thank y'all so much for all the comments. Keep them coming. Hope y'all are all doing well out there, enjoying this spooky season so far. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye y'all.